my God, has Pat Riley done it again?
Tell me what you said it, I'm golden. Told you I'm shining. Had to break through. Plan perfect timing. Giving no hands. Go get it. Radix the ruler. Can't fix the them peasants. Want to win pleasant.
I guess in the intro, I shouldn't have just said Pat Riley because I need to shout out Andy Ellisberg and Adam Simon and the rest of the Heat executives because once again, they have another exceptional draft, something that they've consistently done, quite the opposite of Chris Greer, I might add. But I could do a whole hour-long video talking about the mistakes in Chris Greer's draft history. But the Dolphins have a bye week this week, so they cannot upset me. I will not let it happen. But anyways, I know y'all saw the Heat's first preseason game versus Charlotte Hornets, in which both Kel'el Ware and Pelle Larsson balled out. Now, of course, going into that game, we kind of saw the starting lineup that we all expect with Terry Rozier and then Alec Burks was starting, but that's only because Hero was hurt. But you got those two guys in the backcourt with Jimmy, Jovic, and Bam, so that looks like your starters. But then as part of the second unit with guys like Jaime Jaquez and Hayward Highsmith, we saw Pelle Larsson. So Pelle came in, he balled out, hit a couple of threes, was moving exceptional without the ball, defending with his positional size to throw a sposum at you, and he was really doing a lot of the stuff that we saw in the Summer League. But then Heat fans were getting a little annoyed because we saw Kevin Love, we saw Thomas Bryant, but then we didn't see any Kel'el Ware. And obviously Ware ended up coming in. He played like, 16 minutes, balled the hell out, had 4 blocks, or was counted for 4 blocks, but I thought he had like 7, hit a 3, mid-range jump shot. He was looking awesome out there. But before he came out there, Heat fans were a little annoyed because we're like, what the hell is going on? Is Ware like the 4th center in this rotation? Even my boy Brendan Tobin put out this meme, which I thought was hilarious, which says Spo with rookie guards and Spo with rookie bigs. And I thought that was really funny because I do think there's some truth to that. And that's kind of how I want to intro this video because I'm going to give my predictions, I guess, or kind of say what I expect from both of those rookies going into this season. I tried predicting their stats, which I'll tell you at the end of this video because that is what I did for my previous prediction videos on Jimmy, Tyler, and Bam. So y'all can check those out if you're interested. But as I started to think about it, I realized it's quite impossible to predict what those guys will do or how much they'll even play, talking about the rookies, because we don't know how much Spo will play them. Because I thought about this meme that Tobin posted, and I went back and looked at the recent rookies they've drafted since Bam. And I'll start with the bigs, and I do see a little bit of a pattern here. Of course, with Bam Adebayo, he did play 69 games as a rookie. Nice, but only at just under 20 minutes a night. Then you had Precious Achiuwa, who did play 61 games, but he only played 12 minutes a night. You also had KZ Okpala, who I counted as a big because they listed him as a power forward and he was like 6'9", and he only played 5 games and 5 minutes a night. And then, of course, Nikola Jovic barely got any run as a rookie. He played 15 games and 13 minutes a night. So all of these guys played under 20 minutes a night. Most of them didn't even have a substantial role in the rotation. And you compare that with the 2 guard/wings they've drafted since Bam, which of course is one, Tyler Hero, who played 55 games. That's only a small number because it was the COVID year, remember. But he did play 27 minutes a night and obviously was very impactful in the postseason. And then Jaime Jaquez, who played 75 games, only missed a handful with the groin injury, averaged 28 minutes a night, and was obviously a pretty substantial part to the bench. So if you look at the recent draft history, the 2 guard/wings they've had have played a lot more than the bigs. So it does seem like maybe there's some credence to the meme that Tobin posted and Spo not necessarily liking to play rookie bigs. Now, there is some more context to this. For example, Bam Adebayo was playing behind Hassan Whiteside. Precious was playing behind Bam. And then KZ and Jovic were both very young players who were looked at as experimental projects. So obviously they weren't going to play a lot, even though they drafted 3 second-round picks for KZ Okpala. One of the worst draft mistakes they have made since I was giving them credits earlier. But then a guy like Tyler Hero, he was a scorer when this team desperately needed some scoring. He was obviously more skilled than a lot of guys his age. And then Jaime Jaquez was a 4-year guy. He was the only guy out of, I think, all these guys I mentioned that wasn't one and done. Obviously, he went to college for, I think, 4 years. He did go. So he was more of a seasoned vet when it comes to rookies, I suppose. So there is some context to that, but I just wanted to kind of look a little bit into that because I don't think I think where we land is Spo doesn't like playing rookies in general, but if they are going to play, they need to be a little bit more versatile, just so they're not a liability on either end of the court. But anyways, in the preseason game, we did actually see Pelle and Ware both play the same amount of minutes. Ware actually played a little bit more, although Pelle came in first. But now I kind of want to talk about both of those rookies and say what I believe they can bring from a basketball on the court standpoint going into next season. So we'll start with Kel'el Ware, who was actually a 2-year college guy. But that first year at Oregon, he really didn't play much. He was at about 15 minutes a night. There was some personal issues there. And then his second season at Indiana is kind of where he really took off before getting drafted by the Heat. Now, he's a guy that people are in love with his, I guess I should say this, Heat fans are in love with his, I guess, offensive versatility. And I say that very loosely because in college, he was a guy that had a little bit of post game, could stretch the floor a little bit, was an okay mid-range shooter, and he essentially was more than just a big that was a rim runner. So I think Heat fans kind of look at that and expect him to immediately bring that coming into this season. And I was going to say I don't think that's the case. I know that's not the case. He's much more of a raw prospect than the highlights show you, because obviously if you're just watching the highlights, they're showing the threes, they're showing the windmill dunks and all that stuff. That's not what he's going to bring to this team right away. Now, I do think those are a reason that the Heat did draft him so high, because they do think he has the potential to be so much more than he currently is. And I feel the same way. I just don't feel like we're going to get to see all of those things as a rookie. If you need an example, look at Bam Adebayo. There was videos from him, his pre-draft workout of him nailing three-pointers, operating out of the post, doing all these sort of different things. But Bam wasn't even allowed to shoot a mid-range shot till like 3 years into the league. And now we're sitting here like 6 years later, and he's finally allowed to extend his range behind the arc. So while I do believe Kel'el Ware will be a very versatile offensive player one day, I don't think we'll see that as a rookie. I think when he does play, he'll mostly be used as a rim runner on offense, a lob threat, sort of like a Derek Lively is the position that I like to give. And then maybe once in a while, he'll be allowed to shoot a three just to keep the defense honest. I know he did hit one in the first preseason game. The form looked decent, although it's not super smooth like a Bam Adebayo. So I do think that's something gonna continue to work on with him. So offensively, he'll be a rim runner. He will not score much. But if he does play, and he'll play, but you know, depending how much he plays will be on his defensive side of the ball. Because obviously the Heat are a defensive-minded team, and what Kel'el Ware has shown in college, the summer league, and specifically in that first preseason game versus the Hornets, is that he is a pretty elite shot blocker, at least for his age. Now, of course, he's 7 feet. He's very athletic, so you should get some blocks with that. But the reason that I think he will be successful in the NBA is because of his IQ on the defensive end. These blocks that I'm seeing is not just him sitting in the paint like Rudy Gobert's bum ass and blocking people because he's allowed to get away with 5-second violations. That's not the case. Kel'el Ware stays in front of his man very well and is very timely and smart when deciding to rotate off his man, rotate in the paint. If they're playing a zone, know exactly where to be on the court so he can always be a rim deterrent or block the shot, right? Because even if he doesn't block the shot, he affected a hell of a lot of shots in Summer League, and that just comes from his defensive IQ of knowing when to rotate. So that has been the thing that I've been most impressed with him defensively, is the IQ, because he makes it look very easy to get all these blocks. When a guy like, y'all know Hassan Whiteside, he's one of my favorite players. I'm back at the childhood home. Y'all see the Whiteside up here covering LeBron in the Big Three poster. But he did not have the best defensive IQ. A lot of times he would rotate to block a shot, and all that would lead to is his man getting the offensive rebound or the person he was rotating to throwing a lob to his big man. You can't just leave your man every time as a big man to help ball. You have to know when to do it. And I've been very impressed with Kel'el's, again, his timing on the defensive end and just knowing when to rotate, when to not. He makes that look much easier than it is. And if he gets minutes, again, it will be because of that. Now, as far as physically, I don't think he's quite there yet. He's still pretty skinny. In the summer league, it didn't affect him much because, of course, he wasn't playing against a ton of 7-footers. He wasn't playing against super big people. So he was, in a lot of instances, just able to reach up and grab boards, get blocks, body guys, because he was bigger than them. But coming into the NBA, everyone is 7 foot. Everyone is big. Everyone is strong. It's just a different level of physicality. So I'm not sure that he's there yet from a physical standpoint. And that's another reason why I think it'll be a few years before we really see him as a solid part of this rotation. But I'll get into his stats later when we also talk about Pelle Larsson's. But I think that's pretty much all I want to say about Kel'el Ware. Now, moving on to Pelle Larsson, of course, he was in college for a few years at Arizona with my boy Kashad Johnson, who y'all know I love. Buy all the Kashad Johnson stock. I'll be sure to get a video out about talking about him sooner rather than later. But Pelle Larsson is obviously a guy that he drafted in the 2nd round. Not based off potential like Ware. Well, obviously he has potential, but Ware was more of the potential upside pick, where Pelle was more of the ready to play now type of guy. And I think the reason that he's ready to play now is not only because he's obviously more mature from an age standpoint and has a little bit more experience, but it's also because I feel like physically he's fast enough, strong enough to compete with most 1 through 3s in the league. I feel like defensively in the summer league and in the first preseason game, he's kept up very well with anywhere from point guard to small forward. I feel like he has the IQ to stay with his man and the size to also compete with them. Now, outside of the defensive IQ, offensively, I've loved what I've seen from him. He's a pretty decent playmaker for his position. Won't have the ball in his hands a lot, but when he does have the ball, I feel like he's a guy that can make the right play. He knows how to use his physicality to get into the paint, get some easy shots. He's a decent finisher inside there. And then, of course, he's also a pretty good shooter as well. So he's able to stretch the floor, and I think he can be a good enough scorer to play as a rookie. The thing that I like about Pelle Larsson is that right now he's pretty good at everything, but he's not great at anything yet. I think being pretty good at a little bit of everything is enough to play right now, but is also enough to get me really excited about his future, because imagine Pelle Larsson 3-4 years from now, when he does become great at a few of those things while being great at everything else. So I do think he projects to be a pretty good versatile, or pretty great versatile player in this league for a long time. So I am optimistic with regards to Pelle Larsson. Now we're moving to my stat predictions for both of these guys. As far as games played, I have no idea. I really don't. I look at a guy like Kel'el Ware, and you think they need his minutes because they don't have any other 7-footers. Thomas Bryant's 6'10", Kevin Love is 6'9", Bam is like 6'9". They could really use Kel'el Ware. They need him from a size standpoint. But I just don't think Spo will trust him as much as a guy like Kevin Love. I do think that Heat end up going 9 deep, which means they need to take 4 guys off the bench. I would say Duncan's a lock, Jame's a lock, Hayward, Highsmith is probably a lock, and that leaves one more spot. You're going to need a big. Will it be Kevin Love? It probably won't be Thomas Bryant, but will it be Kevin Love? Will it be Kel'el Ware? I think Spo's going to lean more towards Kevin Love. Now, Kevin Love did miss 27 games last season. As his age gets older, he's likely to miss more. So for that reason, I got Kel'el Ware officially playing 52 games, and in those games, I have him playing 11 minutes a night, because when he does play, it'll probably be for some blowouts and spot minutes elsewhere throughout the season. So I got him at 11 minutes a game, and in those 11 minutes, he'll probably get 6 boards and 6 points, and 4 rebounds. So again, on the season for Kel'el Ware, I got him at 6 points, 4 rebounds on 11 minutes and 52 games. That probably won't be accurate, but I wanted to throw something out there so we could check back later in the year. And then for Pelle Larsson, I do got him playing 57 games. I think he will be a guy that can maybe even get some starting slots when guys eventually get hurt throughout the season. Hopefully just minor stuff, but because of his versatility, he can fit in for lots of different players. So I have him at 57 games this year. We'll go the same thing. We'll go, 13, 14 minutes a night? Not, because if he plays, he's going to start. He's going to get more. I'll change that. I'll put Pelle Larsson at, we'll put him at 19 minutes a night. And then I got him getting 7 points per game, 2 rebounds, and an assist, just because I don't think the ball will be in his hands a lot. He will be sort of looked at as that glue guy that can kind of just do everything else while the Stars have the ball. But anyways, that's all I got to say for this video. So let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to drop your stat predictions for Kel'el Ware and Pelle Larsson. And more importantly, let me know how many games you think they're going to play. I'll be very curious to read all y'all comments. Make sure to like and subscribe because all that good stuff does help the algorithm boost this video out to everyone. To all my people that's dealing with Hurricane Milton right now, I'm praying for the best for you. Again, I'm in Davie right now. Everything is good here, but my home is in Fort Myers. I still got my roommate there. We were very lucky to not lose power. Other people were not as lucky. I know the Sarasota, Tampa got the direct impact. They're feeling it much worse in Fort Myers. But regardless, everyone that's going through it right now, I'm hoping for the best for y'all. But I'll see y'all with the next video. So peace out, everyone.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.